Hello, my internet fans. It's me, Statboy Mike, and I would like to welcome you to this week's installment of Throwback Thursday. The Casa D18 Studios Channel continues to sort through the archives of the Jeff Meacham Network, the Simple Man brand, JH95 FTW, NoDQ.com, and the Casa Channel in order to bring you classic content that you may not have seen in a long time, if ever. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's Throwback Thursdays offering. I love you all. Statboy out.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
Alright, this is episode 25 of Talk Wrestling here on NoDQ and MySpace, and of course the YouTube page. And I'm going to get to you guys in just one second. Today we're going to talk about the 2008 WWE Draft. That's going to be the end of the show. We're going to talk about Night of Champions, and we're going to get to your questions. But I have a couple of things to say. It wouldn't be Talk Wrestling without a rant from Jeff Meacham, of course. I realized I made a couple mistakes last show. First of all, Kurt Angle was in fact the WCW champion. However, Power Pro Wrestling, the championship of that company, was not a world title. Don't sit there and tell me, well, that counts as a world. No. Doesn't. 4-time WWE champion. 2-time TNA champion. The NWA title that he won at Sacrifice wasn't even a championship because the NWA had revoked the status of the title from TNA. So that was pretty much just a belt and went, ooh, look what I got. So that's 6 so far. 1-time WCW champion. 7. 1-time World Heavyweight champion. 8. 8 championships. World championships. Yes, he was tag team champion. But we're talking about singles titles. If we're talking about tag titles, then he's got 10. Because he has WWE tag title with Chris Benoit and a TNA tag title with Sting. So that's 10. He's still not a 12-time champion. So, I don't know what TNA is getting that from. And the whole U.S. title thing. I blame that on Vince McMahon and WWE. I don't blame myself for that. They have trained me very well to forget Chris Benoit. I apologize to any fan of Chris Benoit that watches this show. Yes, Benoit did defend the U.S. title against JBL at WrestleMania 22, and he lost. And yes, Chris Benoit did defend the U.S. title against MVP at WrestleMania 23. He won that one. So I apologize to the Chris Benoit fans. But honestly, I've been very well trained by WWE. I am one of their lapdogs, apparently. Because I forgot about Chris Benoit's title matches. I did. So I apologize for that. With that, let's get to your questions. Alright, this one's from Michael. When will we see Ron Killings and Chris Harris finally come on live in WWE? Okay. Bring the camera over here. I want you to see this. Seriously. Look how he spelled this. Look at this. When, with no H, will Ron Killings and Chris Harris finally come, C-U-M, on live in WWE? Oh. Okay, C-U-M, dude, is when you ejaculate. Okay? It's when semen comes out of your penis, okay? Oh, God. C-O-M-E. That's how you spell cum like you're trying to use it. And when is spelled with an H. W-H-E-N. Oh, please message me back about this. I'm going to answer your question on the air, just for the hell of it. Killings and Harris have both done dark matches. Their debut is as of yet unknown because they don't know what they're going to do with them. I'd like to see Ron Killings go back to TNA and Chris Harris go back to TNA. I don't think either one of them is going to be properly utilized by WWE. I think they're both better off with the Jarretts, with TNA. They were better utilized there. Killings wasn't happy there, whatever. He was a bigger star there in TNA than he ever was in WWE. Yes, he had the WWE name behind him, but in TNA he was a world champion. 2 times. So, and Chris Harris was a multi-time tag team champion. I just like C-U-M. Oh boy. Grammar lessons for everybody that watches this show. Free. We'll do a grammar session on one of these shows. I swear to God we will. Oh. Alright, these are from The D. Okay, first of all, dude, you sent me 10 questions. And then you sent me more emails after that. I will get to your questions. Do not send me 10 at a time. I'm deleting this email after I answer the first question. So, send me your questions again. I hope you saved the page. I hope you saved the sent page. I mean, it's more than 14 days old, so hopefully you saved it or whatever. But I'm not going to answer 10 questions from one person at one time. That's just not fair to the 220 emails I have in my inbox from other people. I have to get to everybody once. I will do that. Of all the questions you asked, the D, I'm going to pick out my favorite, which is, what is your opinion on dirt sheets these days? Do you think they kind of take the surprise aspect out of wrestling? Working for a dirt sheet website, I can't, I don't hate it, because I like the fact that I have a job, even though I don't get paid, but I get free lunches, so that's cool. I don't think they take a surprise out of it anymore, because honestly, people make the choice to read the dirt sheets. People make the choice to go to these websites like NoDQ or The Observer or The Torch or whoever. Everybody makes a choice to go to these websites or read these newsletters or subscribe to these newsletters. It's everybody's individual choice. If they want to read them, they can read them. That's their problem. WWE can't control what the dirt sheets say because there's leaks. TNA can't control it because there's leaks. I'm dropping shit everywhere. No, I don't think dirt sheets are a problem in wrestling. I don't think they are an issue. I think that if people... Thank you. I think if people want to read them, that's their choice. But if they don't, then they can be surprised on TV. There you go. Thank you very much, the D. Your 9 questions are now deleted. This is from Mattman. What do you think of the current quality of entrance music in WWE at the moment? I have to say it's quite poor. Music-wise, WWE seems to be turning into what WCW once was. WWE used to have music written for each individual character, and therefore it suited them perfectly. Now it seems they just pick a generic rock track and give it to a wrestler. Jeff Hardy's music used to get the energy going, and while his new tune is cool, it has little to do with the Jeff Hardy character. Same to Randy Orton. In fact, the only new entrance music that has any purpose is Jillian Hall's. Just curious as to your thoughts on this subject. Kind regards, Matt from Derby, England. First of all, Jeff Hardy's old theme, the Hardy Boys' old theme, is a generic tone. They use that on Spike TV all the time, which is fine because WWE is on Spike TV anymore. They use that to do commercials for their action movies all the time on Spike TV. So that wasn't written for Jeff Hardy or Matt Hardy. That was a generic rock tone that WWE took. His new one, I don't like it as much as the old one, obviously. Same with Randy Orton's. I love the Burning My Light. I love that song. It was a great song. It was written for Orton. This new one, Voices in My Head, I guess is what it's called. I'm not a big fan of it. It doesn't really suit the Orton character very well. Jillian's does, though. Jillian's is very obnoxious, like Jillian. Her voice is obnoxious, like her character. And it does suit her very well. You're absolutely right on that part. Overall, I think the quality of music's good. You know, Triple H still has both his King of Kings and his Time to Play the Game. John Cena has his. Most of the guys have their themes that they've had since they started in WWE. Big Show's is a little bit tweaked now, a little bit different. Kennedy's is better, I think, now, with the faster tempo. Shelton's is, you know, whatever. They're both good. But I think overall WWE's music quality is doing pretty good. That's just my personal opinion. And it's my show, so it can be my opinion. Blue Rain, a big fan of the show. He emails me all the time. I was wondering what you think of Buff Bagwell. I met him in February of 2007. Buff is a tremendous friend of the show. He is a longtime friend of mine, friend of Aaron's, friend of everybody on the show. With the XMV and Ringside Insanity we did with him. We actually were going to do a show with him on July 20th. Let me check the date now that I think about it. Yeah, July 20th out in Bakersfield, but Aaron, I guess, is going out of town that weekend, so we are unable to do that with him. I'm still trying to get together with him when he's in town. He's going to be flying to LAX that day to do the show that night in Bakersfield, so hopefully I can get together with him and we can, you know, grab a drink or whatever, and we can try to tape something for later on in the year, hopefully. We'll see what happens. Buff's a great guy. He was a tremendous help to us in the early days of the audio show. We had a particularly memorable show. The same show, we had an hour-long interview with Vince Russo where I pretty much forgave him for taking out Hogan like he did. And we had Buff Bagwell, myself, and Mike, my friend Mike, the old host of XMV with me, prank call Matt Boone. Hi, Matt. I hope you're watching. That was a fun day. I still enjoyed talking about it. It was great. Anyway. I'm going to be in so much trouble for this show. People are going to hate me. I don't care. I don't care. Let's see. Ace of Hearts. Oh, by the way, there you go. Just for you guys. My nose itches. I have allergies. It's a desert. There's allergies everywhere. I'm going to itch my nose. I'm going to sneeze. It's going to happen. Nobody, as I said before, is pointing a gun to your head and forcing you to watch this show. You don't like my nose itch? Edit it out. Fast forward. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. Ace of Hearts. Jeff, I was wondering about Brock Lesnar. Is he ever going to come to TNA Wrestling? And I heard that Sabu and the Sandman have retired. Is that true? To my knowledge, they have not. Sandman still wrestles on the East Coast independently. Sabu... I'm not sure about Sabu. I'm pretty sure he's still wrestling. As far as Brock coming to TNA, he is going to milk every dime out of his UFC thing that he can. And then once that falls through, because it's Brock Lesnar, he'll go to TNA. I think you want to see that big match at Kurt Angle that everybody's talking about. If WWE lets him out of that contract that he is still locked up in, from what I understand. Why is the camera sideways? What's going on? Whoa, dude. We'll see if Brock Lesnar comes to TNA. But as far as Sandman and Sabu retiring, to my knowledge, they have not. This one's from Eric. Speaking of which, with the new WWE logo that may be coming out with all the revamping they're doing, that's the rumor. He's asking about that. Why they had to change WWE from WWF to WWE in the first place? And they made a scratch logo that's a WWE instead of the WWF. The reason they had to change their name was a suit with the World Wildlife Fund for Nature that commenced in, the late 90s. And it went all the way up to 2002, and basically the World Wildlife Fund had accused WWE, the World Wrestling Federation, of marketing their name worldwide by establishing WWF.com as their domain name, which was a violation of the agreement they made with the World Wildlife Fund in 1994. WWE appealed the situation, but by the time the appeals would have gone through, it would have done damage to the product to try to, revamp everything. So Vince just said, fuck it, change the name. Unfortunately, the name change has resulted in editing of DVDs and videos and releases and everything over the last 6 years, to the point where, when you watch WrestleManias or you watch the Royal Rumbles or you watch whatever, they can't say WWF. They can say World Wrestling Federation, but they can't say WWF. And pictures, there's a classic one of Hogan tearing his shirt before WrestleMania 1 with the old WWF 1985 belt that has the letters WWF written on it instead of the logo. They had to edit out the whole phrase WWF off that belt in that picture because it was a violation of the agreement made in the lawsuit. It's so stupid. So stupid. But they did what they had to do to avoid more lawsuits. They ended up winning a lawsuit at one point with them, and they got to keep some of their merchandise with WWF on it, but it was mainly superficial stuff. It wasn't anything big. So hopefully that will change. Hopefully they get to use the WWF name again on their videos. I'd like to see them, now that Aaron has the WrestleMania 1 through 20 box set, I don't want them to release WrestleMania with the WWF edited back in, because that would piss his parents off because they bought that box set for him. But I'd like to see them do that. I'd like to see them re-release stuff with the WWF edited back in. Alright. So the draft occurred this week on Monday Night Raw. 3-hour show. Longest show ever. And I feel that the draft this year really didn't deliver up to expectations like it has in the past. You had Mysterio go from SmackDown to Raw. Mysterio has been a SmackDown mainstay for 6 years, and he was one of SmackDown's biggest superstars. I think moving him away from SmackDown was a mistake. I think that will only benefit Raw, but I don't think SmackDown will benefit. SmackDown is not going to benefit very well from this draft, from what I see, other than getting an announcer in Jim Ross, which is very beneficial to them, and getting 2 top WWE Raw faces, Mr. Kennedy and Triple H. Kennedy going back to SmackDown is kind of like, okay, but my take, I said this to Josh on IM the other night. My take on that is Vince sees Kennedy as a star, but not as a WWE champion. The World Championship is kind of lower on the prestige ladder than the WWE title. So for Kennedy to be World Champion, I think is okay with Vince. But WWE title, the main title, I don't think Vince will sit well with that. I think that's why Kennedy's moving back to SmackDown. Triple H going to SmackDown is strictly for ratings for SmackDown, to get them ratings, because SmackDown's ratings are shitty, their quality of work is shitty, and just everything about that show is terrible right now, except for Edge and Batista. And even that's stretching it. But Batista's on Raw now. Batista's a Raw superstar after John Cena beat Edge via countout. So Batista's a Raw guy, and he may win the world title at Night of Champions. We'll go to Night of Champions in a little bit. Jeff Hardy is going to SmackDown from Raw, and we thought we were going to see a Hardy Boys reunion, but then Matt Hardy was drafted to ECW. So, we'll see. The Hardy Boys are now on SmackDown and ECW, respectively. Jeff on SmackDown, Matt on ECW. But they have the title exchange. They have the talent exchange. Title exchange, wow. So, we may see the Hardy Boys, or the Hardys, team up once again. We'll see what happens there. CM Punk is now part of Raw. That won't be good for ECW. They've lost their two top stars, CM Punk and Kane. They've both gone to Raw. Kane's ECW champion right now, and CM Punk is Mr. Money in the Bank. He's arguably their biggest workhorse. And for them to lose both those guys and only pick up one guy in Matt Hardy, very unfair to ECW. This draft was very lopsided toward Raw, as usual. Michael Cole and Jim Ross switching. Oh, this is bad. This is bad. Michael Cole sucks. Sucks. He always sucks. He sucked since he debuted. I can't stand it. The fact that they still have him around makes my head physically hurt. It physically hurts my body and my head. And having Jim Ross call the B Show is ridiculous. Jim Ross has been a mainstay on Raw off and on since 1993. 15 years he's been with Raw, off and on. He called a SmackDown here and there, but mostly he's been on Raw. And that's ridiculous to split him and the King up. Michael Cole and the King were a good team at one point on SmackDown. But and Jim Ross and Mick Foley have potential to be a good team. But I don't like this switching answers. I don't like it at all. And Umaga, of course, that was the expected one, went to SmackDown. After MVP beat Tommy Dreamer via pinfall to get the pick for SmackDown. I'm not surprised at that. Umaga, they've been talking about him going to SmackDown for months. And it's finally happened. So that leads into Night of Champions, with everything being shaken up. Kane versus the Big Show. You have a Raw guy versus a SmackDown guy for the ECW title. I smell 2000 in there somewhere. WWF versus WCW for the ECW title. Just saying. Big Show will win, and I think stay on ECW. That's what I see happening. Hardcore Holly and Cody Rhodes versus Ted DiBiase Jr. and to be announced. The big rumor is that it's going to be D.H. Smith. I think Cody is going to turn on Hardcore Holly and join up with DiBiase and D.H. Smith to form the Young Stable, the second generation stable. And we'll see other people join that as well, like Carlito, possibly Natalia, if she becomes Divas Champion or not. I don't think she will, though. I think whoever opponent's going to be... I wasn't supposed to mention that match, was I? Son of a bitch. Oh, well. As of this taping, we don't know who the opponent is going to be. Let's put it that way. But I have a pretty good guess it's going to be Michelle McCool. I think Michelle McCool is going to be the new Divas Champion. So, the World Heavyweight Championship, Edge versus Batista. I think Edge will keep the championship and remain on SmackDown while Batista challenges the champion on Raw. We'll get to that in a second. Matt Hardy will retain the U.S. title and keep it on ECW as he beats Chavo Guerrero. Finlay and Hornswoggle will probably win the tag team titles against Morrison and Miz. Mickie James is going to retain the title against Katie Lee Burchill. Jericho will retain the Intercontinental Championship against whoever he ends up facing, because they will be every title's on the line. And John Cena will regain the WWE title from Triple H. That way he stays on Raw with the WWE title, and Triple H will challenge the World Heavyweight Champion on SmackDown at some later point. That's it for Night of Champions. Next show, big show, already in the can and ready to be put up. It'll be put up later next week. Tara Reynolds is on the show. Very excited about having her be on the show. We did a great interview. We had a lot of fun during the interview. We had some outtakes that were going to be on the website, I'm sure. Hopefully Aaron will put those up. It's gonna be a lot of fun, I promise you that. So tune in next time for Terry Runnels, and again, this show is just my opinion, and I'll see you next time.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's installment of the Renegade of Wrestling. I am your host, JJ Williams. I'd like to apologize first and foremost for there being no episode last week. But you know what? With all the hectic stuff going on, all the chaos and disorder, you like what I did?
I like
going on
I only took
regarding
you 20
all
seconds to do one of those. That was good.
Going on regarding all the new shows coming on the channel, I figured, you know what? It's best for me as the executive producer behind the channel, the main man in charge, to take a step back and let all the other talent get their, little promos and first episodes up. Thank you to all 1,500 of you that have watched the first episode of After the Bell with Jeff Meacham. Thank you for all y'all that have checked out the Double Down with Double A promo and the Stat Boy Rants promo. Their first episodes are coming very soon. I'm not sure yet if they're going to before me or after me, but we'll see how the fuck the computers run, because goddamn it, that's the most clusterfucky thing in this whole damn house.
Like, we're taping on Sunday, we've been up for 3 days. We don't know what the fuck.
Oh, no.
Today my topic is going to be a little bit out of the ordinary. I'm not going to cover WWE. I'm not going to cover TNA. I'm going to cover Pro Wrestling Guerrilla.
Yay!
By far the #1 indie fed in SoCal. I know I might catch heat from a couple of guys for saying that, but the #1 indie fed, dare I say the ROH of the West Coast. I had the opportunity to go to their Battle of Los Angeles tournament, which, similar to the question Jeff touched on about King of the Ring, it's pretty much what took the King of the Ring spot. It's probably the biggest tournament of the year in wrestling.
Well, the Super 8 on the East Coast is pretty high. Yeah.
This is the West Coast Super 8.
Thank you, there we go.
Especially since there were
8 guys this time.
year.
Yeah. In the past we've had 16, whatever it is, but they did one night, so.
I personally had not been to a Gorilla show in almost 4 years. Jeff hadn't been there in 2. I got to ride with a good buddy of mine, John Ian. Big shout out to him and his promotion, Mach 1 Wrestling. And he was like, you and Jeff need to do a lot more coverage on the indie scene and get the word out there. So I took his advice, and while I was sitting there watching Bullseye, took results of the matches. There wasn't a bad fucking match on the card, unlike most WWE or TNA pay-per-views. At least have 1 or 2. There wasn't a bad match on the card, and I just thought I would go through them real quickly, talk about my thoughts on some of the matches, put over Scorpio Sky and some of the other guys, and hopefully this will persuade you guys to go to www.prowrestlingguerrilla.com and check them out, or search for them on YouTube to find some of their videos on there, because they usually post highlights or some of that type of stuff, hype videos building up their feuds.
And remember, Guerrilla's
or
like
go to High Spots and buy their DVDs.
Remember, Guerrilla's like Guerrilla Warfare, not Guerrilla the Animal.
There you go. First match of the night, the homeboy Willie Mack defeated Chris Hero, one of the kings of wrestling. I love Willie. Completely blew me away. Caught me off guard. Me and Jeff were talking about how great it would be to have one more Hero Claudio match in our home promotion, and Hero jobs out in the first match. I looked at Jeff and I was like, okay, maybe this is a sign that Willie is going to take Bola, and the guy that nobody expected is going to, come up from the ashes here and just totally blow everybody away.
Because he was gone for like a month on an injury angle, so,
Kevin Steen defeated the debuting ex-WWE, WCW, insert many other promotions here, Fit Finley. Probably one of the most intense, brutal matches I have ever witnessed live until the main event. El Generico defeated the other king of wrestling, Claudio Castagnoli. Again, that one I kind of saw coming, but it still kind of caught me off guard, because here it is. More than likely, the last night we're going to see the Kings of Wrestling out here in SoCal, and both of them jobbed out in the first round of the tournament. Totally caught everybody off guard. Lots of please don't goes. For Finley, there was please come back, because he had that hard fought of a match, and normally when a big guy like Finley comes out here, it's hard pressed to get that kind of response from the Guerrilla crowd. But that's just how much of his heart and soul he left in the ring, that they wanted him back. And the last opening round match was Eddie Edwards versus Roderick Strong. Again, another sick, intense matchup. All of these matches were like very, very strong style matches. And if you don't know anything about these guys, if you don't know anything about Willie Mack, Kevin Steen, El Generico, Eddie Edwards, Roderick Strong, do some research, dude. Go to YouTube, go to Wikipedia, read bios, something. Pretty much everybody knows about the Kings of Wrestling and about Finlay. But the other 5 guys, do some research on these guys, because these guys are freaking awesome. This was my first time seeing Eddie Edwards live, and I was completely blown away. After that, they went to a number 1 contendership tag team match, where the Dynasty, Scorpio Sky, and my good buddy Joey Ryan, defeated the Rock Nest Monsters. That match right there was freaking hilarious to me, because Joey and Sky come out there, and Joey's rocking the Christian Hit the Switch shirt, and Scorpio Sky's rocking the John Cena Red Fruity Pebble shirt, coming out freaking actually saluting the camera and the crowd. And the reason behind this, we've already freaking lost Aaron in the background.
He did again.
The reason behind this was because they had just done Raw and SmackDown dark matches, and they were even on SmackDown it was on Raw as Kevin Nash's security. He had Scorpio Sky right next to Half a Natural Selection, Sean Ricker, and we didn't really see Joey, but apparently on the very other end, Joey Ryan was there in security too. So because of that, they came out there freaking representing the C Nation, if you will, and Captain Charisma, and just totally playing the heel role against the Rock Nest Monsters. I pray to God somebody puts that video clip up there on YouTube, because that shit was epicness.
Well, they don't allow filming in there, so if they do, they're gonna get fucking deep shit. So.
True, but once the DVD comes out, it's like a little trailer promotional tool, it may end up there.
True.
Then we all went to intermission, me and Jeff are doing a little mingling, talking to the fans, bullshitting. Hey, aren't you the guy from Talk Wrestling? Like, no, I'm the guy from After the Bell. Dad's on wrestling, Doing the whole little new promotional tactics. Talked to Hero and Castagnoli, man. We were all set to drop some money on their merch. None of their shit fucking fit us. That's the price you pay for being a fat ass, I guess.
Sucks to be fat.
Came back from intermission, and we go straight into the semifinals, where Willie Mack fell to El Generico, and I was like, oh. Thought the underdog was going to pull it out. Back the Mac. Go buy that yellow shirt of his, because Willie needs the support out there.
I like even Willie wants you to buy the Willie shirt, the yellow shirt. He hates that fucking shirt. Sorry.
Kevin Steen went against Eddie Edwards, and another very strong, very intense matchup. Sitting up for the finals of El Generico versus Kevin Steen, which is a feud that Ring of Honor had for the better part of last year. We had not really gotten on the West Coast, so this was a very big carrot dangled in front of our faces. But before we got to that, we got an impromptu tag team title match between the former TNA Generation Me, aka the Young Bucks, who totally came out there shitting on TNA, by the way. I think it was Nick was doing the whole RVD point and the spin kick and everything. Just fucking hilarious to their Hanson Mbop. Seriously, like, it took those two guys to make Hanson cool again. Like, seriously. If they were ever cool to begin with, don't start trolling me on that shit. But it took those two awesome athletes to get a crowd of 500 macho-ass wrestling fans to clap along and sing Mbop.
Fuck shit.
And they defended the belts against the Kings of Wrestling, and once again, the Mighty Kings fell. Granted, it was a screw job. Granted, one of the Bucks had their feet on the ropes. But seriously, y'all couldn't let the Kings get one match and was possibly their last night? I think that's a little bit of bullshit. Main event, El Generico versus Kevin Steen to win the 2011 Battle of Los Angeles.
Imagine what Johnny
Like I said, the Steen and Finley match was one of the most intense matches I had ever seen until that match. When they got to live out that Ring of Honor feud out here in front of us, I mean, they just ran to the ring, proceeded to beat the shit out of each other. The freaking ring announcer, John, didn't even get the formal announcement out until they were already beating the piss out of each other. There was a crowd chant of Little Jimmy to a little kid that was wearing an El Generico mask. I'm going to get to that in a second myself, too, but Kevin Steen totally turned up the douchiness in that match, totally played up the heel role. He just kind of been like mild heel all night, but as soon as that match with Generico came out, he went into super douche. Like, you heard Stat Boy talk about Super Cena. Kevin Steen went into super douche. Seriously. All in all, I think PWG's Battle of Los Angeles 2011 is one of the best indie cards from top to bottom I may have ever seen. Definitely in a long time, possibly ever. I highly recommend that all my fans out there go to www.prowrestlingguerrilla, GUERILLA.com, double R's.com, or go to highspots.com when Bola comes out and purchase this DVD. You will not be disappointed. Now, again, forgive me because I'm not exactly sure when this episode is going up. You heard Stat Boy rant, or maybe you haven't yet, but the Renegade of Wrestling has got his own little rant that he needs to get off of his chest, and I'm being told I have 3 minutes, so I'm going to try to run through this very quickly. And did I just hear myself say 3 minutes?
We got some more to the trap!
So, this is the Renegade of Wrestling's guidelines to an indie wrestling show.
Oh, man.
Rule number 1, please, pretty please, do not wear a t-shirt from WWE or TNA to an independent wrestling show unless the talent is actually going to be there. I saw probably the most ghetto-ass, bootlegged Kurt Angle t-shirt I've ever seen in my life at the show last night. Among the sea of about 10 CM Punk shirts. What else was there? There was...
Guy wearing a SummerSlam shirt.
Yeah, there was a SummerSlam t-shirt. There was... John Cena shirt, I think, was even in there.
But guy get shot.
Please, do not wear a t-shirt for one of the big two unless the guy you're wearing a shirt for is actually going to be there. If somebody had had a Finley shirt and was rocking it, would have been one thing. But nobody had a Finley shirt. Finley wasn't even selling merch, which boggled my mind. Number 2, you don't have to stand up throughout the entire fucking match. I'm mainly bringing this one up because, as y'all know, when me and Jeff and the crew go to stuff, we tend to roll with Jade, who's in a wheelchair, who cannot stand up on her own. She saw maybe half of the show. Getting the wrap up, but I just got one more thing I'm going to go over really quickly, and if I go a few seconds over my time limit, so be it. Fuck it. The back and forth chanting.
Oh, God, yes.
Let's go Steen, let's go Finley, let's go Generico, let's go Eddie, what the fuck? Please stop chanting. Seriously, I do not think there was but maybe 5 minutes the entire night, not counting before the show started, intermission, and post-show, where there wasn't a fucking chant. And it was, most of the time, the back and forth. Let's go Wrestler A, let's go Wrestler B. Seriously? Like 5 minutes ago, y'all were fucking booing the Young Bucks. And now you're out there trying to ride their nutsack into a chant. shut the fuck up. And on the chanting, don't chant something that's a WWE chant, like the little Jimmy thing. I turned and I looked at Jeff, and I'm like, are you fucking serious? People all, little Jimmy, wrong promotion, little Jimmy, wrong promotion.
If anything, should be Little Jose as a generico guy.
So please,
Sorry.
heed these warnings when you go to an indie show. They're not anything too extreme. They're not anything that's not common sense. Wear wrestling shirts, that's fine, but don't wear one of the main two promotions unless the guy you're wearing is actually going to fucking be there. Sit your ass down, because I didn't pay $25 to stand up the whole fucking night. I didn't pay $25 for somebody to hold up their freaking t-shirt in front of me while I'm trying to take pictures. And please, knock off the back and forth chanting. Sometimes the best chant to hear at a wrestling show is to hear an entire section of people that's just fed up chant, "Shut the fuck up." Till next time, I'm the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams. I'll see you around.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Scan the QR codes to see what's upcoming for FTW Productions and what's available on demand right now. Owen the Talkinator Studios series premiere of Owen and AJ Talks. Welcome to the FTW family, Zero Miller. Shared experiences re-airing on the new FTW main hub. All Retro Wrestling Review Series videos on demand and upcoming. The Wrestling Rundown and ATW View crossover available now on demand. Fantasy Booking Series video, If Goldberg Stayed in WWE in 2004. Pride CAW Supercard by Zero Entertainment, available now on demand. All of A Simple Man's Brand Simply Predicting panels. Simple Bracketology season premiere covering the G1 Climax 33. AEW Spark, WWE Aftershock, every show week by week. Indy Force episode 27, available now on demand. Jeff Meacham Network, all watch-along events. AEW Double or Nothing Go Home Week, Dynamite and Rampage watch parties. A Simple Take, WWE Simple Takes featuring Casa D18 Studios. Super Mario Bros. Z voice acting, episode 3 coming soon. La Strada 1954 watch-along, available on demand. WYW Intro and Immortal Stream. Wrestling with Idiocy Episode 8, Fast Food and Restaurants discussion. Plugs have concluded. On to the video.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
Shall we begin?
Let's begin now. Let's begin now.
Hello YouTube fans, and welcome to, it's not really an episode, it's more of a episode promo for Double Down with Double A, and as always, I am your gracious host, Double A. I remember last year, around this time, I did a show with by 15 random questions from YouTube. I had a lot of fun with that. I want to do a 15 more for this year. So I'm leaving it to you, yes you, the one I'm pointing at, the fans, to give me 15 more random questions, right? Whatever you want to ask me, don't make it too personable, because if I find a question on the right here in the comment box that is something that I won't even tell my own mama, what makes you think I'm going to tell y'all? So, make it cute, make it funny, make it somewhat personable, whatever. Ask me, you know, whatever, like some of the craziest shit I see at work. I don't know. But that's my plan for my next show. Or
Give me another top 10 idea. Give me a movie review. Give me something, please. Give me something to talk about, because I want to come out here and do more shows right here on the D18 Studios channel, but I run out of stuff to talk about, dude. I don't watch wrestling every week. I'm sorry, it just sometimes it's like but yeah. The latest political views, if you want to ask me my opinion, even if you want to ask me my opinion on Obama's new gun control bill that he wants to put out, please ask me. Ask me. But the next show I want to do is the 15 random questions. Leave them right here in the comment box, and I will choose out 15 of the best. If you don't want to do it right here on YouTube, hit me up personally on my Twitter. Austin74 at Twitter, or hit me up on Facebook. If I'm already a friend, cool. If not, I'm gonna give you the link right now. Aaron Cameraman Austin. That's the page to go to for all the fans. Please do not go to my personal page, because I will not accept you. Until the next time, I am AA Aaron Austin, and this was a promo for my next show. Deuces.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
the Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
Welcome, 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 my friends, to the show that never ends. This is NoDQ&A Video here on NoDQ.com. For those of you checking it out for the first time, I am the owner of NoDQ, Aaron Rift. I've been running the website now for about 13 years, and I've just gotten around to doing Q&A videos. This is episode 25. Let's get right down to it. I will be answering some questions from the YouTube channel official comments. So here we go. Aaron, what sort of gimmick or angle should Chris Jericho do to stay fresh when he comes back? Just something different. Chris Jericho has been reinventing himself time and time again over the past 10, 15 years. When he comes back, just do something different, that's all. What do you think about Alberto Del Rio's ring announcer, Ricardo? I think he's tremendous. His facial expressions, the whole deal with the ring announcing really adds to Alberto Del Rio's character. I think he's a great character and hope he sticks around for a long time. Hey Aaron, in my opinion, I think WWE should do Rey versus Sin Cara at WrestleMania, and I would like to see Edge versus Christian one more time. Do you think it will happen? I'm not sure if it will, but I hope it does. Well, Edge has always said that he would like to have had his last match against Christian, like at WrestleMania in Toronto, but it's highly unlikely that Edge is ever going to step foot in a ring again, unfortunately. Hey Aaron, what's up? Love the show. I was wondering if WWE will ever do a pay-per-view in Mexico. Yeah, I definitely think it's a possibility at this point. WWE has been going into Mexico more and more. They're breaking into that market. Mexico is really, really doing well for WWE. And, you know, they've done pay-per-views in Canada before, so Mexico is certainly a possibility. They're doing this coming month in October. WWE is going to be doing a tour in Mexico. They're going to be doing Raw in Mexico. So that's one step closer to actually doing a pay-per-view in Mexico. So yeah, definitely see that as a possibility down the line. With ratings going down due to football, in your opinion, what could they do to make the show better? Just better writing, better character development. There's not a whole lot they can do right now. Football is going to take a chunk of Raw's audience. What they need to do is not panic. WWE needs to have a game plan, a storyline plan for the next several months, and just stick to it. If they keep changing plans every week, you know, it just reeks of desperation, and it shows people that they really have no idea what they're doing, and they're desperate. So yeah, that's what I would do if I was WWE. Just stick to a plan, and just don't worry about the ratings. Just try to make a show go from week to week, making sense and being logical and being able to keep people interested. That's all. Hey Aaron, I was wondering, do you think Chris Jericho will come back right after either Rock or Cena won at WrestleMania 28? Well, like I said before, Chris Jericho could be returning at any time. He's just got to pick his right spot when he feels it's the right time to come. Rock and Cena at WrestleMania 28, I think that feud will continue after WrestleMania 28, so I'm not sure if Jericho's going to get involved in that. You know, he might get involved in something with CM Punk, so we'll see what happens. But, I mean, it all depends on timing, basically, with Chris Jericho in terms of him returning. You know, he's got a lot of things going on right now. He's doing his stuff with Fozzy, and he might not want to return right now. He's got a lot going on. So, yeah, just all depends on when he's got the time and when WWE needs him or when there's an opening for him. So there you go. If Sting would have signed with WWE during the day after WrestleMania 27, how would you use him and what way leading up to his retirement match against HBK at WrestleMania 28? Well, if I was going to use Sting, I would have brought him in just to do like one or two big dream matches. Actually, my idea for Sting this past year was for him to come in and talk about how he's never competed for WWE, but he wants to be able to come in for one match and make a bigger impact in one match than anybody else has ever done in an entire career by defeating The Undertaker at WrestleMania 27. So that's how I would have built that whole thing up with Undertaker and Sting, and that was a heavily rumored match earlier this year, and it never took place. I would just have him do the one match and then go into the Hall of Fame. I wouldn't have him stick around and do a lot of matches or whatever. Just have him come in for one big match and promote it as him coming in and trying to make one big impact in one match. That's what I would have done. All right, let's see here. Hey, Aaron, what do you think about the return of the NWO 2002, and was it the right thing to do? Well, considering WWE owns the trademark for the NWO, it was the right move to, do something with the NWO, do something with that name and brand. But unfortunately, WWE didn't really go anywhere with it. The NWO could have made a big impact in WWE, and they could have stretched out the storyline over a year or two, and it burned out in like 4 or 5 months. And that's partly because of Scott Hall not being in the right condition, the right state of mind, and just Hogan getting the big face pop at WrestleMania 18, and them turning him babyface. Just things didn't end up working out for the NWO. And then, of course, Nash tearing his quad out. They tried to keep the NWO going by bringing back Shawn Michaels and getting other people into the mix, teasing that Triple H might become part of the faction. So yeah, just a number of circumstances led to the early demise of the NWO. It's too bad. Hey Aaron, I think it's time for WWE to change the music they use during Raw. I'm sick and tired of Nickelback and Green Day every 5 minutes. Don't they own rights to more music than that? Well, it's not owning the rights, it's getting the music licensed. And I guess they just worked out a deal with Green Day and Nickelback or whatever. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the Green Day song. It seems too happy for SmackDown. It seems like it's the happiest theme song that WWE has ever used for a television show. It's a far cry from the Beautiful People back in the late 90s. So yeah, I think it's time to change it up. But it's WWE's decision. They're gonna try to get the most popular song for the least amount of money. So wherever they can get the best deal, that's the song they're gonna use. What do you think was the best and worst year for WWE, only counting post Attitude Era? I think maybe probably 2002, 2003 was a pretty dark period. 2004, pretty dark period for WWE. Following when WCW and ECW went under and the whole invasion kind of fell flat. Yeah, it seemed wrestling really lost its popularity and didn't really regain some of it back until guys like John Cena and Batista and Randy Orton got their big break and became major stars. Yeah, that was kind of a cold period right there. And when Triple H, was the world champion, beating guy after guy, that was definitely one of the dark periods of WWE. And some would say the last couple years, it's kind of gotten bad again. They were doing well in like 2005, 2006 with, like I said, with Cena, Orton, and all of them, and Eddie Guerrero. All those guys were doing really well. So yeah, I would say around 2003, 2004, and then maybe the last year or two. Do you think SmackDown has become stale after this year's draft? Well, yeah, they only have like 1 or 2 marketable names. They have Randy Orton, who's by far the top guy, and then you have Christian, and then Mark Henry, Sheamus. There's not really a whole lot of guys on SmackDown right now. It's kind of a mess, which is why WWE's doing this whole Super Show thing, trying to boost SmackDown a little bit, get them on Raw, and make those guys mean a little bit more to the fans. But yeah, if they really need to try to balance out the rosters. But hopefully if SmackDown ends up going live on Tuesdays, which is definitely a rumor at this point, and it's a possibility, yeah, I could see them boosting up the SmackDown roster a little bit and trying to even it out. But they still want Raw to be the A show, and that's still going to be the priority no matter what. So, yeah, unfortunately, SmackDown's always going to be seen as the B show, but maybe if it goes live, it'll get a little bit of a boost. We'll see. Which Goldberg theme music did you like best and why? The WCW version or the WWE version? I always liked the WCW version. When he changed his music, I wasn't really a big fan of it at first, but then it kind of grew on me, Goldberg, Goldberg. It kind of sounds like they're chanting him, along with the music or whatever. So it grew on me. Yeah, I liked it. All right. What do you think if WWE put WrestleMania in either Chicago or Victoria, Texas instead of Miami? Okay, first of all, they're not going to be putting WrestleMania in a city like Victoria, Texas. It's going to be a major city. It's already set for Miami. It's not going to change. So They're doing that for Cena and Rock. Austin, and he brings up Steve Austin and CM Punk, like having WrestleMania in Chicago for that. I don't think it really matters where Steve Austin and CM Punk takes place if it happens. Any big city where WrestleMania is and they do Steve Austin versus CM Punk, the crowd is going to be, off the wall for it. So it doesn't really matter. Hey, Aaron, if The Undertaker had one more WrestleMania match, my opinion would be him versus the guy he never defeated. That would be Brock Lesnar. If Brock ever agrees to do one more match against Undertaker, your thoughts? Okay, well, last year it was definitely a possibility for Brock Lesnar and Undertaker. There was that stare down at the UFC pay-per-view. Undertaker was in the crowd. Brock Lesnar came out after his fight and got in Undertaker's face. And, that was the talk of the internet for a couple months. But things never came to be. Brock Lesnar's still doing UFC, and there's not going to be a match with Undertaker probably at all, considering Undertaker's career is starting to wind down, and I'm sure Brock Lesnar is going to be in UFC for the next couple of years. But yeah, if Brock ever decided to step down from UFC, and I could see him coming back to WWE in some capacity, probably not a full-time thing, because that's the main reason he left in the first place. He got burned out on the travel and everything. But yeah, if not Undertaker, I could see Brock Lesnar coming back in a couple of years and doing a big WrestleMania match, maybe with a John Cena, Randy Orton, or something like that. What is your favorite Royal Rumble match and moment? Mine would have to be this year's Rumble because they added 10 more superstars in the match, and my favorite moment would have to be when John Cena returned in 2008, just because it was so unexpected. Okay, well, yeah, I liked the John Cena return in 2008. It was definitely a surprise, but I would have to say the big moment for me, my favorite Royal Rumble match, period, was 1992 with Ric Flair winning. And just that was one big moment right there for me. Just everything about it. Flair's performance, Bobby Heenan on commentary, Gorilla Monsoon, the interaction between them, Piper, Hogan, Sid, everything about that Royal Rumble. That was my all-time favorite by far. Let's see, do we have any more here? All right, that about does it. I answered all the YouTube channel comments. Thank you very much for checking out NoDQ&A video on NoDQ.com. Right now, my inbox is closed for Formspring. I have about 1,000+ questions I have to get through, so try to hold back from sending in questions for the time being. But please leave a comment, youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Leave a comment on the channel comments. It's below the videos. Just interact with other fans. Let me know what you think about the show, and please subscribe. Please spread the word. Tell a friend. You know somebody that watches WWE or TNA? Have them check out this video, NoDQ&A video. We answer your questions about the world of professional wrestling, and I try my best. With that, we'll see you next time, and thank you for watching.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Scan the QR codes to see what's upcoming for FTW Productions and what's available on demand right now. Owen the Talkinator Studios series premiere of Owen and AJ Talks. Welcome to the FTW family, Zero Miller. Shared experiences re-airing on the new FTW main hub. All Retro Wrestling Review Series videos on demand and upcoming. The Wrestling Rundown makes its return, available now on demand. Fantasy Booking Series video, If Goldberg Stayed in WWE in 2004. Pride CAW Supercard by Zero Entertainment. All of A Simple Man's Brand Simply Predicting panels. Simple Bracketology season premiere covering the G1 Climax 33. AEW Spark, WWE Aftershock, every show week by week. Indy Force episode 26, available now on demand. Jeff Meacham Network, all watch-along events. AEW Double or Nothing Dynamite Go Home Show Watch Party, available now on demand. A Simple Take, WWE Simple Takes featuring Casa D18 Studios. Super Mario Bros. Z voice acting, episode 3 coming soon. Breaking news, ATW View Impromptu, WYW Intro and Immortal Stream. Wrestling with Idiocy episode 8, Fast Food and Restaurants discussion. Plugs have concluded. On to the video.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
Hello, my internet fans! It's another episode of Boy Rants. Yay! And this episode, which is not being numbered, but it's still going, it'll be numbered eventually, is a spin-off of the Sean Black interview that Renegade did in 2011, which was only a couple days ago. Haha. But a couple comments have come in saying that they want to know the story of Statboy, me, joining up with the Santino brothers and training, because during the interview I mentioned that Sean Black was there and he started training that day as well. So we have to go back in time to about October, November 2009, and a mutual friend of ours, Dubbar Swift, Ryan Ramos, comes up to me one day and he says, you know, I'm with the Santino brothers in Norwalk. Why don't you come along and let's see if we can't make a referee out of you. I'm like, okay, why not, you know? And I'd always wanted to just get in the ring. Didn't really want to take bumps like a wrestler, didn't want to be a manager, just wanted to get into the ring, just to see what it's like, you know, and goof around and, you know, hit the ropes and climb on the turnbuckle and see 50,000 fans in front of me, you know, the typical childish fun stuff, you know. That's what I want to do in a ring. I just want to goof around and have fun. And so one day we get on the 173 and
And we go all the way out to Norwalk, and then we have a nice little mile walk to the school. And the school was at somebody's house. In the driveway. The driveway was big enough to hold maybe, I would say maybe a 16 by 16 or a 18 by 18 ring. Not WWE size, not 20 by 20. That's too big. And it was covered by a white tent. And in the garage, there were wrestling mats for, training, for MMA type stuff. And also they had their Santino wallpaper and for promos and things like that. And so I walk in, say my hellos, and the first person to officially welcome me is Jezebel Romo. She's Chaos's manager. And she goes, "Are you my new referee?" And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I'm your new referee. Well, she welcomes me in. She sits me down on the chair. And, I just watch what's going on. What's a day like at Santino's? And, of course, Chaos and Mongo Santino, the Santino brothers, they are the head trainers or teachers, and all the students are there. And they're doing their drills, they're doing their stretches, they're doing their warm-ups. Just good old-fashioned wrestling training. It's like, when you think you're a wrestler, you can always learn one thing more. And a match started going on, and Jezebel said, don't focus on the wrestlers, focus on the referee. Me, I'm marking out because it's like I'm only a few feet from my goal. I want to get in the ring. So it's kind of hard for me to look at the referee. I'm watching the action. And the first thing I notice is this referee, he didn't seem very authoritative, because whether the match is a simple match or whatever, you're a referee, you're the law, storyline wise. In reality, the wrestlers are in charge, and the referee is just there to count the pin and make things go more smooth. So I'm asking questions, and it's like, well, what will I be doing? How will the training go? And things are being said, and basically I'm still trying to focus on the ring, and basically it's going in one ear and out the other. Then I get an official introduction to Chaos, who I had briefly paid attention to when he was in XPW. I think he still had the blonde hair back then, but I didn't really know him. But, he's a cool guy and all that, and he had this wild, crazy hair and all that, and there are pictures everywhere about him with the blonde hair, and his face is busted open, and all that. So then, class ends, and I'm just sitting there, and the students get up on the ring apron, and they do the whole, Team Santino thing, and then one new student is taking chops. And these are, honest to goodness, knife edge chops. I mean, they are, his chest got purple. Not red, but purple. And I'm sitting there watching this, and I go over to Jezebel and I go, "Do I have to do that?" She goes, "You want to be in this school?" "Yes." And it's like, okay. And of course, now they got the guy in the corner. He's in the turnbuckle, and they're just going, "Wah," and it's bam, and it's loud. If you think it's loud on TV, it's louder in person. Next thing you know, I'm getting up close to the ring apron, and I'm saying, "Come on, man!" I'm giving this guy his props. It's like, "Come on, man, you can do this. This is nothing." It's that was, I think, not cool on my part. I wasn't supposed to do that, but I was in the moment, and so he takes his chops, and now he's with the team. It's kind of like, I don't want to say it's like an initiation or it's like hazing, but it's definitely not hazing. But everybody has to take their chops. That's the rule, and that's a good rule too, because if you're a wrestler, you got to learn how to take chops sometime. So then a couple weeks pass, and I call up Sylvia and I say, "Okay, I'll do it. I'm in. What do you want me to do?" She goes, "Come to the school and we'll just get started, just like that." And so I borrowed a bicycle from my downstairs neighbor with no brakes, and I ride from here all the way to Norwalk and show up at the school bright and early, like 8 o'clock in the morning, in like a t-shirt and sweats. You know, not the best of workout gear. And, you know, I finally get in the ring. When we sit down and we do our stretches, we're doing like the butterfly stretch and the hurdler stretch and stretching out the legs. And then it's time, then the first drill is rolls, which are somersaults. And we're all lined up, and it's like, I haven't done a roll in like 25 years. I haven't done somersaults since I was like yay high and 6 years old. And they're kind of egging me on, they're kind of pushing me on. And I look over to Chaos, I go, you know, I'm brand new. I don't know how to properly do this. Get out of the ring and get on the mat and start learning. It's like, okay, no problem. Do what I'm told. And the first person to officially start training me was Famous B. And he showed me the proper way to do a roll. Basically stand up, tuck your head, and roll forward. Simple somersault. And it's like the simplest of moves. You know, you think anybody can do a somersault, but you got to do it right. And so I do one. It's like, okay, I'm back as a 7-year-old. And of course, the thing with the somersaults are, or the rolls, down here in your abs, that's where the main, it's not all leg, it's all abs. And let's face it, I don't have any. And if I do, they ain't working the right way. And of course, the momentum of somersaults makes you dizzy. So, it is what it is there. So I do a couple of them, and Famous B is, you know, he's happy with it. He goes, okay, now you're gonna do 6 in succession. It's stand up, roll, turn around, stand up, roll, turn around, stand up. Do it 6 times, front and back. Click. Okay. Do the first one. Do the second one. Do the third one. Do the fourth one. And I start to slow down and do the 5th one. And by the 6th one, I think scientifically wise, if you do 6 rolls in a row, you're gonna get dizzy. Unless you got some thing, whatever. And I literally have to grab onto the wall to keep from falling into it and landing on a boombox that's standing right over here because I don't want to ruin that. And I think Chaos looks over and he goes, you know, what's the matter there, Mike? You dizzy? And I was like, yes, sir. Gather up, whatever. Gather up my senses, and I think even Famous B laughed at me. I mean, but hey, you know, I'm the new guy, so it's like 6 rolls, abs tighten up, and then of course you feel like you want to puke. I mean, if you're on a roller coaster, it's like, compared to like being on a roller coaster that's spinning you around over and over and over again. And he says, if you have to puke, go around to the side of the garage. And me, one, I hadn't eaten anything that morning. I was working on an empty stomach. So one, what can I puke up when there's nothing there? And I don't want to puke because as tough as wrestling is, you know, I don't want them to think, oh, he's puking, he's a wuss, he's a weakling, he's a pussy. You know, so I definitely don't want to do that. So you get you get the heaving in there, you know, and you're trying to breathe through. I'm trying to breathe through it and all that garbage. So now we're trying back rolls. Basically, it's, you know, stand up, lean back, ankles and feet over the head, stand up. And of course now the abs are really in shock. And it's like, I feel very awkward because I never did back rolls as a kid. Not once. So the thought of bringing my knees up to my chin and flipping over kind of made me feel uncomfortable. Again, the momentum makes me want to puke. And there were so many times, you know, B is trying to teach me the proper way to do it, and it's like, I'll be right back. Don't do it, come back. He's trying to, be right back. And that made me feel like he was frustrated with me, which I totally understood because I was the new guy. About 20 minutes later, Mongo comes up to me. He goes, has he puked yet? He says, no, he's holding it back. Mongo says, go puke. It's like, I can't. I haven't eaten anything and I don't want to. He goes, there's no shame in puking. Go and do it. I said, I'm good. I don't want to puke. We give up on the back rolls, and then we try the shoulder roll, which is basically a front roll, but you turn kind of like 45 degrees, and you just roll on the shoulder and stand up. Kind of like in a martial arts movie or something like that. And by this point, my brain wants to go, but my body doesn't. It's like I just couldn't do it. I was done. I only lasted maybe like half the session. I sat down on the chair. It's like frustrated, upset at myself, and whatnot. So then class ended. I said my thank yous. I shook everyone's hand like you're supposed to, and came home. Still, I had to ride the bike home, which wasn't too much fun. And I just came home, and I posted on Facebook that I did my first day. I got some nice props, and I was laid out. It's like I wanted to just be curled in a ball and not even move. So then the next week comes by, and I go back, and the school, or the house, is all closed up except for the garage door. So I let myself in, but the driveway door was unlocked. And the garage was closed, the back door was closed, and the ring was covered up, even though the tent was there. Call up Jezebel, hey, what's going on? Oh, class is canceled this week. It's like, oh, that would have been nice to know. I rode my bike up here for nothing. She goes, well, you got some cardio out of it. Right. See you next week. So now we're the week before Thanksgiving 2009. And come back, and it's like, say my hellos, help with the ring. Chaos calls me over, so you ready for your training? It's like, I thought I was. He goes, oh, no. You haven't begun yet. It's like, oh, yeah. Now I'm worried. I think the dad who owned the house made a joke. I never figured out who this guy was, but he goes, oh, don't worry, man, we got the gurney all ready for you. And it's like, gurney? You're gonna need a casket for me when this is over. Plus, I did something really stupid that a lot of the guys talked about. I brought my photo album with all the wrestlers that I had taken pictures with. Big mistake on that part. It was cool and all that in the first few minutes, and then I think Chaos had to put that away and let's get started. It's like, okay, no problem, cool. Get in the ring, do the stretches again. They start to do their rolls. I go, Chaos, I'm not quite ready with my rolls yet. Back on the mat, and we continue the rolls from 2 weeks ago. And the front rolls were okay. The back rolls were a little better. The right shoulder roll I actually started on, and I did a couple of them. But then, when we did the left shoulder roll, I couldn't do it. It's like, the right side went, but the left side didn't. Now, I'm right-handed. I throw a baseball with my right hand, throw a football, I kick with my right leg, I write right-handed. I sometimes can use my left hand for like typing on a computer screen. So maybe that's why I just couldn't do left quarter rolls and right. It was the same move, just flipped over. Then, of course, the frustration kicks in. It's like, it's the simplest of things, and I just can't do it. At some point in doing stuff, if you can't do it, you can't do it. No matter, like, I don't know, if you're playing baseball, okay? You just can't hit the ball. Why continue on? There was one point during the rolls where I couldn't even get up because I was so out of it. It's like, I'm just standing, I'm actually just sitting there. I think that opened the floodgates to unleash the military factor of training. Many people don't know, Jezebel had a background in the military, so I think that kind of rubbed off on everybody else, because it's like, they started going drill sergeant on my ass. But almost to the level of Full Metal Jacket. Think of that part. Basically, it's like I couldn't get up. Chaos is in the ring doing whatever. And he looks over at me and he goes, "What's up with Buttercup over there?" It's like, okay, great. Now I'm getting name called. That's real good. And next thing you know, I got Pinky Santino, Rico Dynamite, Lucha Machine, and Famous B all around me, throwing out every possible heel insult you can think of to, you want to be a wrestler? Are you kidding me? You can't even do a proper roll. What, you just want to sit on your chair and talk about this and back and forth? And it's like, okay, now I got 4 guys who are trained veterans just pounding my ass into the ground without even touching me. That just made me want to curl into a ball, because I am not confrontational. I hate confrontations. That boy approved. But, so, I think then Jezebel came over and saved me. I don't remember the exact detail. And she wanted to focus on cardio, because she told me and taught me that sometimes there's only one referee for an entire show. If you've ever been to Mach 1, that's happened. K. Spence did that a couple times too. Our friend K. Spence, who's a referee. There are times where he's the only referee booked, so he has to keep going. So you have to be in shape. So, Jezebel and I step off to the side, we stop the rolls for a little bit, and we focus on cardio. And then we start stretching again. So, so I'm sitting in the butterfly position. Next thing you know, I think Lucha Machine actually stands on my knee to get a better stretch. And it's like, ooh, that hurts. Because it's that muscle right down in here where your leg connects into your hip. So it's like, ow, that's never been stretched like that before. And then there's the hurdler stretch where, your legs are out to here, and they're trying to manipulate the leg to go as far as possible. And, of course, girls can do this stretch a lot easier than guys. So it's like, ah, ha, 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 what are you guys doing? And then we move into, like, push-ups. And I'll admit, I can't do a push-up to save my life. I can't even do girly, because, look, I got bony arms, okay? I cannot do push-ups. I can try, but they don't want, it's the whole do or do not thing, So I'm trying to push whatever I can, and of course, I got them, pounding on my back, so it's like, oh, great. And now finally it's me and Jezebel one-on-one, and we start doing lunges. Knee to ground and up. Knee to ground and up. 50 lunges on each side. 50 on one leg and 50 on the other. And I've said before on my show, I've got bad legs. Okay? My legs get tired. I can compare it to that restless leg syndrome that some people have, but I can sleep at night. So it's like I did the 50 on one, and I did like 45 on the other, and it's like right in here in the quads, it got really tight, and I start slowing down. She goes, "Are you kidding me? Are you going to stop at 45 when you're 5 away?" Had to fight through that. Then she wants me to do squats. I just did like 50 lunges, and then you want me to go straight into squats. My legs are about to fall off. I barely did 20 of those. And of course, the frustration factor kicks in. And then I start to doubt myself. And it's like, am I really going to do this? Can I really be doing this? She had me do sit-ups. That was okay. I had no problem doing sit-ups. In fact, even in school, in phys ed class, I did sit-ups better than I did push-ups. Don't know why. Then there was a exercise where I had to jog in place for like 5 seconds and then hit the ground. And I think it was called, jumping on the grenade. That's a military expression too, because there are a lot of soldiers have sacrificed themselves by literally jumping on grenades. So I had to, you know, jump or jog, and then just hit the ground, just like that. I don't know if I had to fall or I don't know if I had to jump, but I had to hit the ground. And of course, the emotion of falling, the fear comes into play, and my arms hit first, and it's like, so now I'm slapping the ground, and then the shock wave hits or whatever, and it's like, oh my God, do I really have to do all this stuff? And then I was just done. I just couldn't go anymore. I said, I'm done. I wanted to say I was sorry, but I was told never to say those two words in a wrestling school. You never apologize in a wrestling school. And I said my goodbyes, and I walked out. I didn't say I quit, though. I just wanted to be done for the day. So I start to walk back towards the bus stop, and then I remembered I had some personal business to handle with Dub R. So I had to go back. It's like, I cannot believe I'm going back. So I went back to handle the business with Ryan. I went back into the school, and Jezebel sees me. She goes, what are you doing back? I says, I got business with Ryan. She goes, sit down, wait till class is over, handle your business and go. I say, okay. Class ends, and up on the ring apron, I look at Jezebel. I say, do I go up? She goes, yes, ring up. Chaos looks me over. He says, you know, how was the day? And I remember Amanda. She's one of the female students, and she did the wah wah, like I did a bad job, which I admit to. I didn't feel like I was up to par. So I only remember saying that I wasn't going to quit. I know I said that. And got in, Team Unity, whatever, Santino's. And I'm just about ready to leave. And Chaos says, Mike, you want to take some chops? And it's like, oh boy, here we go. Why not? I had to redeem myself because I did such a crappy job with the cardio and the training and the stretching and the rolls. I had to redeem myself. So off comes the shirt, off come the glasses. You know, I kept my watch on, which was a big mistake. And I went to take my cross off. And I think Mongo or someone says, you might want to keep that on. I mean, for some spiritual help. And so I says, how's it going to go? He goes, keep your chin up, breathe through it, and don't move. It's like, okay. We're in the gym. He reaches way back and slap right across the chest. First one wasn't so bad. Reach way back, boom, again, right here. I can see my skin turning purple. Not red, but purple. So whatever. And then one more, and wham, one more. 3 chops from Chaos. I don't remember who else gave me chops that day, but about the 6th or 7th chop, I started flinching like mad. I mean, because if I see a fist coming at me, I'm going to cower up. Or a fist, a hand, a slap, anything. If I see it, I'm going to cower up. That's just the way I am. So I remember Lucha Machine grabbed my arms and pinned me behind, and it's like, okay, let's work with this. It's like, come on, go, quick, let's go. Bam, and then another one, and another one. And then they stopped at 9, and it's like, is that it? It's like, what, you want more? It's like, oh, make it an even 10. So then I go 10. Then I went 11. Then I went 12. The problem was it took like 18 swings to get 12 chops out of me. The last person to do it was Jezebel, and she deserved to chop me because I did such a crappy job. I even flinched when Jezebel chopped me. And that's what even was, it was horrible. So then it's like, I think everyone was pleased. Chaos gets out his camera, starts taking pictures. He goes, get mad, Mike, do something. So I just let out the Incredible Hulk scream with my chest as bright as the sun. And next thing, it's like everybody ran out of the garage and into the ring because apparently I screamed so loud they heard me halfway down the block. And, you know, that was pretty much it. Then, we filmed a vignette, and I was supposed to play a doctor. Hence the name Dr. Butters. Whenever Chaos sees me, he ribs me by calling me Dr. Butters, which I hate that name. So, basically, the story was that Rico Dynamite and Chaos were doing a best of 7 series, and Chaos had injured his knee. And so there was a... So I was supposed to play the doctor type that would not allow Chaos to compete in a match. And of course, Rico beats him up, I checked the knee, and that was pretty much it. The next week after that was Thanksgiving. And I kind of had made... I kind of was sort of talking to them, saying, you know, it's Thanksgiving, I'm going to be working, work's going to be kicking in quite well, I don't think I'll have time to continue. Yet I still never said I quit. Because I kind of felt that they weren't too happy. It's like I didn't need to say I quit, they already knew I was going to. So I did show up for a pre-Thanksgiving class that was at night, but the only reason I went there was to pay my dues, literally. I literally had to pay for the classes. And I squared that away, so I was square with them. I think 2 weeks later, they invited me and the family to a holiday party, and I think Chaos asked me, you know, are you coming back? And I kind of said, no, I'm not coming back. And it's like I still didn't want to tell them that I couldn't do it. I just couldn't say those. It's like I wanted to say, Chaos, this isn't for me. Chaos, I can't do it. You know, but I just never did. Because like I said, I felt that they had already knew. I even wrote them letters on Facebook, or even MySpace, explaining why I wanted to be part of their crew, why I wanted to be a referee. You know, I never really got an answer back. And currently, you know, with me and the Santinos, you know, I think we're cool. We're acquaintances. You know, I'll go up to them, I'll shake their hands properly, I'll say, hey, how are you, whatever. I've invited Chaos and Jezebel to Disneyland 3 times. You know, they still haven't done that. Don't know why. It's just me being nice, you know. And, you know, it is what it is, you know. I've always said to both of them, though, the day I got chopped, which I called my baptism on the Sean Black interview, was the greatest day of my life. Because I took a total of 18 chops, 3 from Chaos, and whoever else was there, I don't remember, but I took those chops, and I was done. You know, I've accomplished something, you know? And, you know, like I say, Chaos is school, they're a tough school, but you gotta be tough in this business. Apparently I'm not. And I'm okay with that, you know? You can call me a quitter, you can call me a puss, I really don't care. I'm just gonna let it go, you know? And like I said, Chaos and Jezebel and Mongo and everybody, the Santino brothers, they know what they're doing. So that's basically the story, you know? Like I say, they're friends of mine, we once in a while talk, and if you've got what it takes, look them up and get a hold of them, and they'll do the rest. So there's the story of me and the Santino brothers. I hope you enjoyed it. More shows are coming. Stat Boy out.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Casa D18 Studios.
This is James Morgan, NWA and Mach 1 Wrestling Superstar.
This is Chris Masters, the Masterpiece.
This is Downtown Bruno.
This is Eric Watts from WWE Tough Enough.
Mikey Nova.
Hey, what's up? This your boy, Sean Black.
This is Jess Bella from Santino Brothers.
Gorgeous Joey Chaos.
Yo, monkeys, it's me, DDP, Diamond Dallas Page, and you are watching Dads on Wrestling.
The Dads on Wrestling.
Dads on Wrestling.
Dads on Wrestling.
On YouTube.
Week on YouTube.
On YouTube.
On YouTube.
On YouTube. Now stay tuned or you will feel the bang!
Episode 25, Dads on Books, Book Edition, starting with yours truly, the Renegade of Wrestling, J.J. Williams, the Lady Killer, Ray Larkin, but hey, you already know that, and TW himself, Jeff Meacham, starts right now.
I'm glad I'm starting this one, because yours truly would refer to you, Mr. Announcer Boy, and I'm Mr. TW, not TW. Oh, of course I can run the call. Oop.
Oh my God, you got a text
There we
message.
go. I got a tool. Oh my God.
You got a text
Oh my
message.
God. All right. Today's show, Dads on Wrestling, is the Dads on Books, because everybody and their mother seems to have written a book here over the last better part of 10 years.
Well, and the WWE for the last, I think, 6 years or so has made a big thing around WrestleMania time about the reading challenge and everything.
Yes, this is true.
Trying to get their kid fans out there to read. So, all you C Nation fans, these are the books you need to go to your local library and check out.
So the book that every Hulkamaniac should read, and I know JJ's going to give me crap, Ray will probably give me crap too. And
I like Hogan.
Okay, good, I'm glad. Hogan's first book, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, was okay, but you got to remember, that was a WWE produced book.
This is true.
And a lot of it was WWE spin and Hogan spin. This one seriously starts out in his bathroom with a gun to his head after the accident, after the divorce, everything.
Yeah.
This book right here, if you're a Hulkamaniac and you say you're a true blue Hulkamaniac, brother, go buy this book. It's probably in the dollar bin now at frickin' Borders, if there's any Borders left out there, or Barnes & Noble, but you know what? It's a damn good read and it's worth the buck.
Absolutely.
All right.
Following up Hogan is good buddy.
His buddy Eric Bischoff.
Eric Bischoff. 6 Degree Black Belt.
I have been told by a few promoters in here in Southern California, this is their Bible.
Seriously, like, whenever, back in the days when I was running the old LBWA, whenever I needed ideas, I would either go watch this, or I'd watch the Monday Night, read this, or watch the Monday Night War.
Seriously.
Because seriously, that gave me some epic ideas. Eric Bischoff does not get the credit that he deserves. Yeah, that's the Bischoff I like.
There we go. There we go.
This guy right here does not get the credit he deserves, because let's be honest, if you were put in charge of a struggling television company, a struggling product, with an unlimited bankroll at your disposal and told, hey, what do we need to do to put this on top? You'd have done what he did. And a lot of people want to try and say, oh, He stole Diesel from WWE. He stole Razor Ramon.
Eric Bischoff.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't they Oz and the Marlboro Man in WCW at some
There you
point?
go, right?
Before they became big?
Exactly.
Just saying.
Before Bischoff was running WCW.
Didn't Vince McMahon get stunning Steve Austin and turn him into Stone Cold? Was it Mean Mark Calloway, a WCW guy, before he became The Undertaker?
Exactly.
Vince wants to put his own little spin on it, but let's be real. There was a lot of stealing going on both
sides.
ends.
Exactly.
But Eric Bischoff during the mid to late 90s was the ultimate thief. Ultimate thief.
Speaking of stealing, lie, cheat, and steal, baby. Cheating death, stealing life, the Eddie Guerrero story.
Now, did you get that book?
Before he died.
Before he died. So there's no little insert here from
by
Vince?
Vince.
No.
That was actually
Oh, yeah, it's right there. It's right here.
Oh, yeah.
It's right there. It is.
Yeah, that was actually very emotional for you guys. If you even pick up the book just to look at it, if you're in a bookstore, that little opening from Vince is awesome.
Another book that's emotional now, considering what happened
Speaking
this year.
of awesome.
Speaking of awesome, we'll let Ray hold that
The original reeking of awesomeness.
Adam Copeland on Edge. And the best little scenario they did for this book on television is when Kurt Angle insulted Edge. Remember at Survivor Series, he said, "Oh, you know my favorite chapter is the part where you were WWE champion." "Oh, that's right, you never were." Well, now that Edge is an 11-time heavyweight champion.
Kiss our ass, Kurt. That's
Boom.
right.
While we're talking about Edge,
I was gonna say on the
live sex celebration, his former partner and running mate, Lita.
Before she became the live sex celebration.
Really awesome book telling her backstory, time in Mexico.
Almost got it signed this year. Almost.
Yeah, almost.
Almost went out and got it signed. On the Edge book, really quick though, I like the fact that's the first since Mick Foley's. I think the only since Mick Foley's. No Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Straight up.
You know what? You want to know what's really feel about this book though? While we're still talking about Lita.
Yes.
I actually had this in my backpack, out of Raw, where I met her, and forgot
all
I
those
had it
pictures
on.
were taken?
Yeah.
Fail, dude.
And I forgot that I had it with me to get her to sign it because I was so caught up in the fact that, oh my God, there's Lita!
Yep.
I didn't get it signed. It's one of my few books that are not signed.
Well, I'm sure your
The Bible you hold in your hand is actually signed.
To Jerry?
Yep, to my pop.
Oh, okay,
his
that's
book.
cool. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
My dad bought the Piper book.
This is another one, even though it's written with somebody else, another freaking testimonial to the old school right here, man. In the pit with Piper.
C-Nation fans, get out there and do your homework.
Another homework book that I personally own is the WWE Encyclopedia.
Don't have that here,
Which
but
it is the Bible. It is the Old and New Testament versions of WWE.
It's about this big, about this thick.
No matter what age you are, you buy that, check it out, you learn the history of WWE.
Yep.
Really quickly, a couple more that I want to run through. The Hardy Boys. This book, you know, say what you will about the Hardy Boys, this book reads more like an interview than an actual autobiography,
which why I didn't buy it.
makes it a quick read for people that don't like to sit and thumb through, 732 pages of Mick Foley talking about Japan and thumbtacks and losing an ear.
A lot of these
but this book is actually really, really informative for all you Hardy fans.
Back then, this book's like 10 years old now. So,
yeah, seriously. Again, signed. Let's go ahead and bust that out. It should be right for the next page. Bam. Matt and Jeff, the Sensei of Mattitude.
Nice. You know, a lot of
Not the Sensei of Fatitude.
You know, the...
and if you check really closely, there might be remnants from cocaine on the pages from Jeff Snorting up.
I'm noticing blank...
I was getting high when I opened that page.
I'm noticing blank pages in the book. Perhaps this is just Jeff's imagination. Perhaps. We fill in the blanks at this point.
And again, you want to go to history. You want to go to history like we were talking about the Piper and the Hogans. Pure Dynamite.
Depressing.
Walking the Golden Mile.
Signed by William Regal.
Signed by William Regal.
William Regal marked out to the fact that I owned this, people, because he didn't think that many people in the States actually gave a shit about him.
Yes.
I plopped it down at his table at SummerSlam 09, and he was like, "You actually bought this?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Dude, you're fucking awesome." And he was like, "You're wearing a Hurricane t-shirt. You actually like that guy?" I was like, "It's not like they're selling your shirts on Shop Zone." And he was like, "Okay, let me just sign this because you make a very valid point."
They weren't selling this shirt right here, Born Naughty, but they should have.
And again, Pure Dynamite, like Jeff said, very depressing, very bitter words from the Dynamite Kid, but Any person getting into it needs to get caught up on their history, and Dynamite has got some interesting stories to tell, especially about your Hulkster and the Warrior.
Yeah. They're not here in front of us. They're right here behind the many displays that JJ has in this hallway. But Bobby's books, Bobby Heenan's books, both of them.
Yes.
Not just the bio, the first one, but the advice, basically the self-help one, the second one. They're both the shit, and I loved them both, and Bobby was awesome to sign them for me. So,
did you ever hear the backstory about this book? An enterprise meeting.
Yes.
You have heard the story, but are you two fans?
That shouldn't be for public consumption. I'm sorry.
Actually, it's funny because the whole story in of itself is just humorous. Because
I know, but
I'll let Ray tell the majority of it, but just to set up the scenario, it's August 23rd, 2004.
Let me walk
the
off.
day after my birthday. And we damn near had to strong-arm Chris Hardy. Shout out real quick. X gonna give it to you.
Dude.
Shout out Chris Hardy. We had to basically strong-arm him to take us to this autograph signing because he didn't give a shit about Ric Flair. Like, he took a picture of me trying to meet Ric Flair, and he got a picture of the back of my Randy Orton shirt and Ric Flair's blonde hair.
Chris, I would walk off. Somebody else already walked off on that one. I'm just throwing that out.
We basically told Chris, we were like, look, we can either go to this Walmart and meet Ric Flair, or we can hang out outside the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, quack, 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 and try to meet wrestlers. And we decided to go to the Walmart signing because
Good
of
choice.
the Lady Killer. Come on back in, Lady Killer, and you can pick the story up from here.
So Stat Boy, big shout out to Stat Boy. Goes right into the front of the line. I'm like, he has a pen and paper, right? I believe. I go, what the hell are you doing? Because Flair's only signing the book at this point, and he says, I'm gonna ask Ric Flair, 4 out of those 16 title runs, what venue he won those titles at, and what he was wearing at the time where he won that. Ric Flair comes in all coked out of his mind, pretty much all drunk, all wasted, and he's not talking to anybody. He's just signing, thanks a lot, woo, and he starts doing his little shit. So Mike goes up to him, Stab Boy, shout out. He goes, hi, Rick, and he holds the book away from Ric Flair, and Ric Flair's mad because he just needs to get out of there and go drink, and he's like, I want to know, in 1992 or 86, when you won this championship, what were you wearing, and what event was it at? Ric Flair just like slaps his hands like, man, I don't know. I need to sign your book. All right, now get on. Woo! And everyone didn't even know he was cussing him out. Everyone just behind him was woo! Every dumb mark was woo! That was getting his ass told off. And there's 2 things you can do about it. Nothing. I like it. Woo! So that was the start of Stat Boy and Rick, the Nature Boy.
Fast forward 2 years, and now Stat Boy works at Disneyland, home of Space Mountain, where maybe the oldest ride in the park, but it's always got the longest line.
45 minutes, at least.
Yeah.
But except the last time we were there.
But with the cripple, we don't have to worry about that.
But seriously, for those of you that don't know about Stat Boy, the reason he got the nickname in the first place is because he's been working on basically his own WWE encyclopedia for years.
Yes.
And then WWE just beat him to it, but he's still doing it. That's why he asked Flair those questions. But
for the longest time, I considered Mick Foley my favorite wrestling-related author about his books. Thin, Red, Deeds. And I've changed my mind. Chris Jericho, and not only are his books awesome, he's awesome. And I'm sorry to Miz and Edge and whoever else uses the fucking phrase awesome or whatever, but you know what? Jericho's books are the I know you're not a huge Jericho guy, but you came to the side. I know.
Heart of a champ.
I know. But Jericho proved that he could be an author and get 100 million people into that little bitty board where they went out of business and still be humble about it. He was so cool about it.
You know what? It's funny that we brought these up because for weeks after meeting Jericho, I would tease people on Renegade of Wrestling talking about, stuff is fruit.
Never did!
And I never gave up what fruit
was. It
is
time, Jay.
It is time because we have the book right here, Undisputed, where Jericho talks about fruit. Long and the short of it is, and back me up guys, you've both read it, fruit is basically Jericho's new way of saying stuff is cool.
Yes.
You know,
and he was trying so hard.
His Ed shirt is fruit. My Eddie shirt is fruit. Your King's hat is fruit.
My Sean shirt is free, so it wasn't all that free.
Billy and
Undisputed is fruit. You know, so now we have finally divulged what fruit is.
Sorry to Chris Jericho if anybody hasn't bought the book yet, but you know, go buy the goddamn book anyway. Seriously.
And for all of you guys out there that are lazy, we just got the 2-minute warning. Not 3-minute warning, you know, Rosie and Jamal, but the 2-minute warning.
Did I just hear you say?
For all you lazy bastards out there, look onto eBay for the books on CD.
Seriously. It's
riding around in your Dodge Charger.
When you're not singing Zack Ryder's song right now.
Oh, radio, tell me everything you know.
By the way, for those of you that watch Talk Wrestling and say you're jumping on the Zack Ryder bandwagon, fuck you, you're damn right I am. Anyway.
We're all in it. But for all you guys that are lazy, look into Amazon, look into eBay, get the books on CD because most of them are actually read by the superstars themselves.
Including Leadus, yeah.
And then you can hear Stone Cold Steve Austin talking about why he whooped on so-and-so back in 1993.
Or Jeff Hardy trying to read his book.
For Dad's on Books, episode 25. I'm the Renegade of Wrestling, JJ Williams, and goddammit, I'm out of here.
I'm the Lady Killer Ray Larkin. But you already know that.
And I'm Jeff Meacham, and I like my hat too much to throw it down, so we'll see you next time.
I already threw mine down.